Welcome to my series of in-depth makeup tutorials where I show you how to do a full face from start to finish. Why should you listen to me, or what are my credentials, you may ask? This, period. This was taken with a professional high-definition camera, and let me tell you, that makeup does not lie. So sit down, listen up, and grab your brushes, and let's get started. First things first, we're starting with skin prep. Here, I'm using the Medicube Zero Pore Toner Pads to cleanse and exfoliate my face to make sure that there's a nice smooth base for makeup. Next, I'm going in with the Mehron Mattifying Toner. And let me put y'all on, because if you're an oily girl like me, this product is life-saving. You only want to use it for very special events and very sparingly because of how strong it is. And when putting it on, I'm using a cotton round, and I'm only putting it in the areas where I get oily. So really focusing on my T-zone, my forehead, my nose, my chin, and my upper lip. This product is also great to prevent sweating. So if you have a summer wedding or a summer event, definitely would recommend this stuff. You want to make sure that the toner completely dries down before putting on any other products. With this toner, you'll feel your skin tightening because it's literally sucking all of the oil out of your face. Now that our skin is completely dehydrated, we need to hydrate. So now I'm going in with the Weleda Original Skin Food Moisturizer, which is like the thickest moisturizer on the market, and putting this all over my face. In my professional makeup artist experience, this is the only moisturizer that sits well on top of the Mehron toner. If you use any sort of water or gel-based moisturizer, it's not going to work. It's going to peel right off. This is how the skin should look when properly prepped for makeup. Very hydrated, glowy, and dewy. From my last makeup video, everyone wanted to know a dupe for the Westmore Beauty Supreme Cream, and I'm here to tell you that the Sally Hansen Instant Legs is definitely a good alternative. This is such a great affordable option that is transfer proof and still provides a great amount of coverage. I like to use these products to enhance my spray tan and also just add some coverage, especially when I know that I'm taking photos. This makeup look is for my branding photo shoot, and I'm going for a very timeless glam. For this eyeshadow look, I'm just keeping it very simple, but I am doing a liquid black wing, so I'm using tape so that it's extra crisp and sharp. To prep my eyelids, I'm using the Emco Beauty Concealer and then just using an eyeshadow brush to blend that in. To set that concealer in place, I'm going in with the Charlotte Tilbury Pressed Powder and putting this all over my eyelids. Also, can we take a look at this big ass powder puff that my Kitco sent me? Like, I'm obsessed. Anyways, moving on, I am now going in with a fluffy crease brush, and I'm going in with the NYX Matte Bronzer in the shade Medium and applying this to the outer corners and my crease. Now taking the Too Faced Natural Mattes palette, I'm going in with a flat eyeshadow brush in the color Snow and placing this underneath my brows to highlight the brow bone. Taking that same brush and color, I'm placing this all over my lids just to give it a nice smooth, even base. Now going back in with that first brush, I'm taking the color Less is More and also placing this into my crease. That's it for the eyeshadow. Again, I'm keeping it really simple because we're focusing on this black wing. To form the wing, I start by drawing a line using the tape. Then I draw a triangle connecting that to my eyelid. Then I fill in that triangle and connect it to my eyelid using stamping motions with the liner. Tape really makes the process super simple. I mean, pulling it off, you have a perfect wing every single time. Now I'm applying false lashes. These are the Losha Wispy Lashes from Amazon, and they are linked in my storefront. Then I'm just blending the two together with some mascara. Moving on to the base makeup, I'm using the Maybelline Superstay Lumi Matte Foundation in the shade 220, and first applying this with the Hourglass foundation brush, and then buffing everything in with a beauty sponge. In order for the makeup to stand out in photos and last all day long, everything has to be layered. So now I'm going in with cream bronzer, and I'm using the LYS bronzer stick, and I put the cream bronzer all over the perimeter of my face, my cheekbones, forehead, jawline, chin, and nose. This is how the placement looks when it's just lightly blended out. Then I'm taking the beauty sponge again and just blending it in with the foundation so that everything is seamless and very diffused. Next, I'm going in with the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush in the shade Hope. And don't be afraid to put this shit on, girl. I know a lot of people are like, oh, just do one dot. Like, no. Put that shit on because everything, again, has to be layered. And speaking from a professional makeup artist experience, blush is the first thing that always fades and barely shows up in professional photos. So you really need to pack it on. Now I'm using the Huda Beauty Concealer in the shade Coconut Flakes. And I'm using this not only to conceal, but brighten the front parts of my face. Basically, you want to highlight where the light would hit the front of your face. So the forehead, nose, above the lip, the chin, and the under eyes. I used a flat concealer brush to get the concealer as close to the wing as possible and to really make it clean and sharp. And then just blended out my face like normal with the beauty sponge. Now I really want a bright under eye for these photos, so I'm going in with the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Snow, and just focusing this really on the inner corners of my eyes and blending that out. Here's how the skin is looking with all of the creams and liquids blended out. Like, you cannot tell me that that looks makeup-y. Girl, that looks like skin. Now, before going in with any powder, I'm giving my face a light spray with the Milani setting spray. Now we're going to set the face in place. And to do that, I'm using a powder puff in the Kimchi Loose Powder in the shade Translucent. I like to set the perimeter of my face first and then save my under eyes for last. That way it gives time for the concealer to crease. I can wipe away any excess product and then set the under eyes so that they're absolutely flawless. As shown here, I'm taking that beauty sponge and just wiping away any creasing. And then I'm immediately going in with the powder puff and setting with powder. Then to wipe away all of that loose powder, I'm taking a fluffy powder brush and also dipping into the Charlotte Tilbury Pressed powder just to wipe it all away. This is what really gives your skin that flawless filter-like finish. Now we're going to set all of our cream layers with powder layers. So here I'm going back in with powder bronzer, and I'm placing this in all the places where we already placed the cream just to re-emphasize it. Same thing now with powder blush, and here I'm using the Patrick Ta blush in the shade She's a Doll. Then I'm going over that with the Kylie Winter Kiss blush, and I'm using this also to mix it with my under eyes so that everything just looks super seamless. Now I'm going to add that glow back into my skin using this Bare Minerals highlighter. This one unfortunately is discontinued, which is like one of their best products ever, and I wish that they would bring this back. So Bare Minerals, if you're watching, please bring back your Invisible Glow powder. Thank you. Now that all of our powders are on there, I'm now going back in with the Milani setting spray and just melting everything together to rehydrate the skin and also set the makeup. Now going back to the under eyes, I'm using an eyeshadow smudge brush, and I'm going in with that same bronzer that I used for my crease and my face and smudging this underneath the lower lash line. Then to finish off the eyes, I'm adding mascara to the lower lashes. Moving on to brows, I'm using the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Espresso. I personally like to save brows almost last because I get foundation and powder in my brows when I'm doing my base. So instead of having to go over them again, I just like to save them last. I ran out of time to do my lips, so I did them when we got to the studio. This is how the makeup looks in natural window lighting taken with an iPhone, how it looks with a spotlight taken with an iPhone, and how it looks in natural lighting taken with a high definition professional camera. If you want a photograph like this in videos on an iPhone or on a professional camera, like I said, don't be afraid to put that shit on, girl, because the professional camera does not lie, and you'll literally show up on the camera like a walking filter.